Alrighty, folks. Gonna do a series here on Duel, I guess, since that makes for interesting content. Gonna be highlighting matches specifically in which I kind of struggled at the beginning, or misplays that I did. It's very easy to point out mistakes your opponent made. It's more important to your player development if you point out ones that you made. So I'm going to play Tsukuyomi here, and I got matched up with a very gifted duelist, Migi? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that name, but he's going to lock in Cernunnos. And then I'll talk for a second about bans here. If you're new to Duel or just starting out, a lot of what you see here are going to be meta bans. So as a general rule, I always get rid of Bakasura just for the obvious jungle pressure that he brings and the easy clear. I don't like going into Chronos because I hate having to fight people twice, or kill people twice, I should say. Hades for... I love Hades to death, and he's one of my most played characters. However, he's definitely one to ban if you're not planning to play him. Olorun, I probably could stand to replace the Olorun ban with something else. I think he was better on the old map when dual starters were enabled. And then on her, it's always a dependable ban. On the other side, I'm glad that he banned the AMC because I was going to ban it otherwise. Houyi's super strong. Ullr's like the quintessential dual god, probably S+, S tier. Izanami, more annoying than anything else. I don't think she's as good as she used to be. And then Kali for obvious reasons. And then Freya here. I don't generally ban Freya. I don't think she's that good. But we'll see how it goes. So let's get into the game and chalk it up. Oh boy. Now this is a replay, this isn't live, so oops. Just give me that, please. Thank you. Yeah, I'll go like this, and kind of narrate it. So right now, probably the best start if you're going an ability-based assassin is to rush Transcendence. I'm actually going to double stack into this build, so it'll be Transcendence into Soul Eater, into Breastplate, into Brawlers. And then after that it kind of develops a little more. Now, he is going to be able to outclear me, and you can see that on the minimap, that he went to the speed first, which is sensible. Oh, interesting. I'm not sure. Did he actually clear it then? But he is going to be able to get at least the first couple of buffs. And I have a pretty careless death here, because what's going to happen is I'm going to beat him and clear this, and completely whiff my stun. No, that's okay. But he's actually going to hit level 5 about halfway to 3/4 through this next wave. Which kind of sucks, I will admit. I miss the days of Bluestone, but he's gonna clear, and then I'm gonna... I think I die here. Yeah, I die here. This is my first death, which is rough. Also, full disclosure, this is a long-ass game. This game ends up lasting... Ooh. Oh, I don't want this. Goodness. This game ends up lasting about 31 minutes altogether. So it's quite lengthy. But it is worth it. And this is not a high kill game. Final stat line is 1 to 2 in terms of kills. So if you're looking for that, look elsewhere. So the primary areas in which I messed up are early buff control. Cern just, his is better. And then I messed up at a couple points, which we'll see Probably closer to the 12-minute mark. And Cern's build was pretty interesting this game. The Transcendent start is, I mean, that makes perfect sense. You could even go Devos on Cern right now. He's just a little bit more mana hungry. And he definitely could have double stacked if he wanted to. So he's got that going for him. But yeah, he's got the early pressure, so I'm kind of forced under tower for a bit, and he's gonna get red here. But I am gonna be able to finish my Transcendence. And I get... I don't know why I bought a mana pot. I should have gotten a multi-pot, but do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, I got battered in this game pretty solidly early. But I did manage to turn it around a little bit. Yeah. Let's see. In the interest of time, a lot of this is just going to be farming. In fact, the next, like, probably 5 to 6 minutes is mostly just farming. Clearing buffs. All of that fun stuff. And we play a classic duel game of let me stop the other person backing, which tradition dictates we do. Now, one thing that you can learn from playing this game is a good way to play this matchup, because pretty much every time that I go to ult, he will either dash or he'll use the Aegis right away. And the reason why you should learn from that is a lot of people will use the Aegis for the actual dash damage instead of like getting tagged with the moonbeams. And the reason that you want to do that is you can actually avoid... You want to avoid Tsukuyomi closing the distance to you as much as possible. Which you will do if you block the beam damage instead of holding off. Now you can see at this point I've accumulated enough gold that I've actually started the Soul Eater. And he has finished his breastplate, so I'm playing for a little bit later in the game. Obviously I'm going to go breastplate next, but my damage isn't going to be super good until I can kind of box him with the... until the Soul Eater stacked and I can box him, or until I get my Brawlers done so I can kind of mitigate some of his healing. But, for all of that, the gold lead is only about 400 altogether, and level lead is almost inconsequential at this point. So, and I've been doing a decent job, not a great job, but a decent job of keeping him off of the XP camps. And that's just kind of a silly interaction, and that's why you Aegis at that point. And we kind of go back and forth a little bit here. Neither of us is really able to kill at this point. I have decent sustain, and I can poke him out from a little bit further. So, it's a whole thing. And if you're curious of how to level Tsukuyomi, let's look at this. So you want to go 1, and then in this matchup I'm actually doing the 2. In most instances I would say do the 3, but the 2, because of the increased stun duration, and because the scaling is slightly better, I was finding myself in a lot of instances where he put himself out of position by dashing, so just trying to capitalize on that. Now I am going to get an Aegis here, which I think I only use once in the entirety of the game, which is fucking embarrassing. It might even be true of the shell as well. And I thought I timed it correctly there, but he's going to succeed in taking the next few red buffs, because I'm a fool. So let's look at items while this is going on. So he's going to go into... He could build a number of things here. He ends up building Aussie, which he kind of needs to do, because I'm going to have much more sustain than him. At this point, we're kind of just clowning and fighting over the blue. There's not too much to say at this point. I will say this, his Bramble Blasts were all on point. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't quite have the damage to really chase him down. But here's another little fun tip for Tsukuyomi. You can throw those from outside tower range. So if you're ever in a matchup where you're struggling to get objective damage, throw out your 1 and your 3 and start tagging it, because you may as well. Now at this point I think I finish I finish my breastplate and I get tier 1 of the mace tree, which is great, because now I can actually start to fight him and not have to play too badly. And I think he pauses here for a bit. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm gonna fast forward through that real quick, if I can. There we go. You didn't miss much. I successfully secured my blue. And this continues for some time. This continues to continue for some time. Now at this point he's finished his Aussie and he's actually going into Toxic Blade. Which is probably the right call, because otherwise I should be able to out-sustain him. At least a little bit. Yeah, his sustain was ridiculous. Cern is just so good at that. And I'm glad that he's finally getting played more, because I think he's a really fun character. Yeah. Another variation that you can do with this build, you certainly don't have to do double stacking. You can do single stacking. If you decide to do that, do it with Transcendence. Don't do it with just the Soul Eater, because that's just not going to work. I do make the decision to give up the tower, which at 12 minutes is actually pretty decent duration for a tower in Duel. But that is the only objective I really lose this game. Yeah, I have a rough start, but comes back. Now at this point, he's finished his Toxic Blade, he's started into what will be a kin size. And this is a pretty atypical ADC build into a character with good to moderate sustain, which is what I have here. Now I am going to finally try and contest something. His Bramble Blast is once again on point, but this time I'm here to capitalize. It's a pity that the damage numbers aren't showing up, because at this point my basics are hitting for probably about 105, maybe? It's not a ton, but could be worse. Yeah, so in what will become a pattern, he really loves to just run, or dash, out of my ult, which is kind of smart, because it saves his Aegis. But farming efficiency was super good this match. I think we both hit 20 almost before 15 minutes, or just about on it. I think he hits it before I do, but... Okay, let's go forward a little bit. Wards win games, and that ward prevented a potential steal right there, so... Okay. Now, unfortunately, I can't cancel Tsukuyomi's 2 when I'm channeling it, which led to me getting ulted more than a couple times. I think this might be where I pick up a kill. Maybe not. Oh no, it's not here. However, I do have my brawlers finished. Or I should have mentioned that last fight, but I do have my brawlers finished, which is great for me. At this point, I start going into a crusher. This is where the build sort of becomes up to you a little bit. You certainly can go the crusher route. You can also get Titan's Bane if you find you're having a difficult time. I do end up getting a Heartseeker last. And I actually end up buying a Titan's Bane and then selling it, which bit of a screw up on my part, but you know, we live and we learn. Now, that damage is just great, and I think this is where I actually get the kill. Now, he's in a terrible position because he has to dash, and then I finally pick up a kill this game. Now, what I'm going to do with that, I do have the death timer that I could go and do Bull Demon. But honestly, I have the damage and I have the time to just go and take this out. So I do. Take the Phoenix. Now I decide to stop and take the blue. In actuality, what you should do is just run straight to Bull Demon. The reality is, he's really not going to be able to contest you without letting at least one minion wave in. Okay, let's speed it up a little bit more. Now, one thing that I do want to note, since I can kind of viewing it from this angle, he really doesn't buy a lot in the way of wards this match, and I think the fights might go a little different if he does. But what we're going to end up seeing here is a whole lot of... Yeah, so he's gonna dash. I'm gonna poke just a little bit, and I ult for CC immunity, which is kind of what I have to do. Yeah, we both trade pretty evenly. I'm still gonna be able to sustain more just because I have Bull Demon, or actually I don't even have it. No, I have it at this point. I finally get to secure a red buff, which is great for me. Let's speed it up. Okay. Now, I think what we're about to witness here is my next... probably the other bad fuck-up that I do this game. So I'm gonna come down here and kind of try to poke him out and try and get a minion wave in, right? The problem is that I do this and I tag him with just one, and I get caught channeling my 2, and then I burn an Aegis and my shell, and it doesn't matter. Now he's actually, so he's going to be able to at least kill this wave, but it takes him so long to clear it. He actually just goes straight to Bull Demon. Which I sort of get. He's gonna secure it, and at this point I start putting up my defensive wards. So, good rule of thumb, put one here, if you're on this side of the map, and you put another one right here. And you might be wondering why, and it's because people are scummy and like to backdoor you. So, don't always be safe. So I've got one there, I've got one there. Theoretically, you could probably also put one, like, right here, and that would cover most things, but it's a little bit more proactive this way. Alright, now in the interval, his Phoenix has respawned, and we're starting to see the glyphs come out. So we both actually went for Breastplate of Vigilance, which I guess is the only one that would have been in. He could have bought an Executioner and gone that way, but he didn't. Unfortunately, he really kind of doesn't utilize his Bull Demon buff, like hardly at all. He definitely could have pressured here, and I think it ultimately costs him the game. So basically what I'm doing is I'm throwing out my abilities with tick damage, and he's able to get a couple. Now he does finally ult. Now if I had hit even one more of my beams, I might have been able to kill him there just with the damage. But, okay, so now he's caught in a terrible position, really, because I can do this. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to have significantly lower cooldowns than he is. So because I'm going to have 10% more, plus I've been picking up the blue buff, plus right now I have the red pot. So it's a whole mess of things. Now this ridiculous little dance in the middle continues for quite a while. He's gonna try. I thought he tried one more time to get me. Maybe this is it. Yeah. That large circle just ruining my day. Unfortunately, though, he can't apply his anti-heal, so even as the wave comes up, I'm healing up off of it. Which is just bad luck for him. But we're still trading. Yeah. I kind of just wanted to get him out of that space. And it kind of succeeded. And you can see how much I'm healing off of that. Okay. And he can't, without a wave, I think he just knows that I can kind of pressure and continue that way. So, now this is, okay, I'm going to pause it here. He went and he secured, I think he dropped the red, yeah, but he didn't pick it up. So, at this point in the game, I probably would pick that up. There's some disagreement about which of the buffs is best. I tend to go toward damage and blue over speed, but everybody's got their own thing. Had he had a ward, though, he would have picked up me doing this. Or even if he had placed a ward, like, somewhere up here, if you guys can see my cursor, he would have caught me on that. But I'm going to be able to secure this, and it's going to lead to me taking his Phoenix again, which is wild. Now I do back here For the life of me, I don't remember why. I want to say I upgrade a relic, but he's just securing buffs, and you'll notice again, he does finally have a ward out. He's got one here. But that's pretty much it. I have one on his blue, which, probably not the best word placement, but we live and we learn. We'll go forward a little bit. I don't make the best use of my Bull Demon time either, because I go back and get my own blue. However, see, that was another thing where I really just wanted him to get out of the space. And if he had chased there, he probably could have killed me. But as it is, I'm trading out with him not too badly, and I'm healing up a ton. And now he's actually caught in a bad position because he's used his ultimate. That's down for, I don't know, 20-something seconds. And I am just gonna cast my abilities and wait, because I can. Slow and steady. Okay, this was actually a great play on his part. He really made it difficult for me to land the last Phoenix killing blow. And with that, the base is broken. So, what have we learned at this point? Let's pause. He does actually get a ward up here, which I guess he must have had it beforehand. So he's finally got some ward coverage up. But he really needed to put some up in the Bull Demon pit area. We've learned a ward, and I've learned not to try and contest Cernunnos early if I'm playing somebody like Tsukuyomi. Moving forward. Here, we'll go... Now, I don't tag him with any of those, which is just kind of my B. We'll just go to free cam for a second. Now at this point, I have bought a power pot. The really big, or an elixir, I should say, not a power pot. And I'm trying, and this is your primary goal, is to slowly whittle it down. Unless he's slacking and I don't condone backdooring, and I don't do it to other people. Well, yeah. By backdooring, I mean, it's fine to, like, go straight up, because you're not really backdooring. I mean, like, you wait for him to get out of position, and you sneak it while you're trying to do, like, trying to do a bigger objective. You've been outsmarted. Yeah, the last 10 minutes of the game is a whole lot of this. Now, I was a little concerned that he was actually going to rotate, but again, he doesn't have ward coverage here. This is also one of the only games I've played, probably the only duel game I've ever played, where I was able to buy not one, but 2 elixirs. We're gonna go here, and this is kind of where things start to go badly for him. He gets hit by both of those, and I avoid his ult. If I had gone around the other way, it probably would have worked out better for me. But I didn't because I'm a clown. Now, I'm doing this mostly just to heal off of the blue. Cooldown's got the better of me there a little bit. At this point, I have 4,400 gold in hand, which is not nothing. And I'm gonna hop. There's my defense elixir getting popped. To go with my offense elixir, to go with my power pot. And at this point, I'm gonna grab the red buff as well. So I've got a shitload of power. I've got, what is that? 484, which is quite good. And at this point, I'm kind of just poking to see what I can get, and it's at this point I think I realized I should just commit, because it just disintegrates. So not the cleanest game from me by far. I've definitely done better. He ends up selling his Aussie to buy a Shadow Steel Shuriken, which is fine, but it's not necessary. And that ended with the win. So that is kind of where we find ourselves. Overall, really great game. And a good learning opportunity to kind of stick with it and don't let an early death or deaths get you down. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and that's it.